So, you're installing exterior rigid insulation. That's great. How do you attach it to the building along with the cladding? Depending on the structural substrate that you're working with, along with the type of cladding you're planning to install, as well as the climate that you're building in, the solution can look very different from project to project. We need to use the right type of fastener. We need to make sure that fastener actually bites into the substrate. In some cases, it actually needs to hit a stud. We need to prevent that fastener from being overdriven into the rigid insulation. And in some cases, we need to countersink that fastener to prevent it from telegraphing, as in the case of EIFS or EIFS systems. So already, we have a lot of different design considerations. Now, I'll preface this by saying that if you're unsure about any of this, consult with the manufacturer of the rigid insulation. Generally, they'll have pretty good guidance when it comes to fastening their product to different substrates, but here we're going to give you a cheat sheet on how to attach exterior rigid insulation to different substrates and for different applications. Now, before we get started, we do have a brand new course on integrating and implementing continuous insulation strategies, and we have a completely free training available on this very topic and all of the various design considerations that you need to be aware of when you're using an exterior insulation strategy for wall assemblies. We'll put a link to that free training in the description below. We think that it will really help you out. So let's talk about the most common one, light wood framing or stick framing. How do we attach our exterior rigid insulation? We either use epoxy-coated or ceramic-coated exterior steel wood screws for most of these applications. Generally, this will either be a number 10 or number 12 wood screw, depending on the thickness of the exterior rigid insulation and the length of that screw. On coastal sites, we'll upgrade that to a stainless screw, but keep in mind that stainless screws are a little weaker, and the head of the screw will rip a little easier. But we can't just attach rigid insulation with this screw alone, otherwise that screw is just going to pass right through the rigid insulation board rather than holding it in place. We need a washer between the surface of the rigid insulation and the screw to help keep everything in place and to avoid overdriving the fastener. These washers are usually made out of high-density plastic, but there are also some metal washers out there. We generally default to the plastic washers since they're a lot more affordable and you don't really need the metal ones. In most cases, we don't need to fasten the rigid insulation directly to the studs. It's just sort of pinned to the wall through the sheathing, while the furring strips that support the cladding are actually fastened to the studs and hold everything in place more permanently. Normally, you'll see around 5 fasteners per board, that being at the corners and at the center of the board. Sometimes you'll see 8 fasteners per board depending on the type of insulation, the board thickness and dimensions, and whether it's part of an EIFS system. After that's in place, furring strips are installed with additional steel wood screws, generally the same ones that we use for the rigid insulation. However, we have used some heavy-duty fasteners for heavier cladding types installed over thicker layers of rigid insulation. When in doubt, these Simpson SDWS timber screws are great for pretty much any wood-to-wood connection. We want the fasteners for the furring strips to be attached with about a 1 inch to 1 1/4 inch embedment into solid wood, so factor that in when you're sizing these specific fasteners. What if we're attaching our rigid insulation to concrete or masonry? We actually have several options here. The most common way to attach exterior insulation to these solid mass walls is to use something like a Tapcon with an expandable plug in combination with an insulation washer. In most cases, you're first going to drill a pilot hole with a hammer drill into the concrete or masonry through the rigid insulation board, which you would temporarily hold in place. Clear the hole of any debris, and then insert the screw, hammering it in first so that the plug can fill the gap, and then slowly tighten to prevent damaging the substrate from excessive torque. There are some self-tapping options available on the market. We're looking for anywhere between a 1 inch and a 1 3/4 inch embedment. You really don't want to go over a 1 3/4 inch embedment, or you'll risk damaging the substrate. Now, attaching cladding or siding is a little trickier in this case. Attaching furring strips through rigid insulation into a concrete or block wall is not reliable and is a real pain for the installers. Instead, we fasten 2x furring strips to the concrete or masonry wall with Tapcons at around 16 to 24 inches on center, depending on the maximum spacing of the supporting structure for the cladding. Then we sandwich rigid insulation between the furring strips and add an additional layer of rigid insulation over the furring strips and the first layer of rigid insulation. Then this allows us to attach a second layer of 1x furring strips, which will support the weight of the cladding, and those furring strips are attached through the rigid insulation into the first layer of 2x furring strips with standard exterior wood screws. So the load of the cladding will be distributed to the wall. Now, we briefly talked about EIFS systems, or exterior insulation and finishing systems. These are a little bit different. Instead of throwing strips and cladding being attached over the rigid insulation, a thin synthetic stucco rendering is applied directly over the rigid insulation, so attachment of the rigid insulation to the surface of the wall is a lot more significant. It's also common to trowel a special adhesive to the backside of the rigid insulation board to temporarily hold it in place and to get an initial adhesive bond, and then permanently held in place with the insulation fasteners. Now, we really want to make sure we use countersunk screws for this application to prevent the fasteners and washers from telegraphing through the stucco rendering. Locations with washers dry at a much slower rate, and they can be conductive, which ends up leaving discolorations on the surface of the synthetic stucco. To counteract this, we recommend countersinking the screws into the rigid insulation board and then capping the screws with an insulation plug that's flush with the surface of the insulation board. Let us know what you want to see next as far as implementing exterior insulation. We will be releasing one on integrating windows with exterior insulation pretty soon here. We're going to be talking about exterior insulation and continuous insulation strategies over the next few months, since this is becoming commonly implemented due to recent code requirements. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more weekly building science videos, and head over to our website at asiri-designs.com, where we have over 150 free building science articles that cover a wide range of topics. Links will be in the description below. For now, good luck with your projects. Cheers.